Hello there, time for another video. I have been an EV owner driver now for about 3 months. As you can see, the Porsche Taycan GTS behind me. And I have to say, in that time, the ownership driving experience has been nothing but a pleasure. The car itself is fantastic. Really struggling to criticize it or find any complaints about it whatsoever. I'm sure there's a few little niggles, but maybe that's another video some other time. But specifically regarding the actual EV and charging side of things, yeah, it's been a pleasure. Don't get me wrong, out and about, it's definitely not as convenient as fueling up with regular fuel stations, petrol, diesel, whatever. But all in all, my experience so far has been quite pleasurable. So quickly, with regards to charging out and about, I've done several long trips now. I'm based in the East Midlands myself, and I've been down to Devon on a few occasions, which is, say 4 hours of driving. And I'm able to do that journey with just one stop. I'm able to get all the way down on the M5 to Columpton, which is an Ionity charging station. Obviously targeting the Ionity because of the arrangement that Porsche have with them for a reduced cost. I think it's fixed at 30 pence per kilowatt hour. And I really do not miss the experience of visiting sort of a fuel station once, twice a week like it was in the past. Much more convenient for me is charging at home. So that's what we're going to discuss today, the whole home charging experience and the setup that I've got personally. In terms of EV ownership in general, I really do think it's paramount where possible to have a charging point at home. I can't imagine trying to manage without one. Maybe if you've got access to one at work, you basically need a charging point wherever your vehicle spends the majority of its time. So whether that's at home, so you can charge throughout the evening, or if you're parked at work all day, then obviously you can charge whilst you're at work. Any other scenario where you're managing with sort of rapid or fast chargers out and about all the time, that would be a nightmare, and I can't imagine how that would work. So for me, with me having a home charger, it works absolutely fantastic. Okay, this is my setup. First of all, I had a carport erected, which has made life a lot easier. And as you can see, currently I've got the Taycan pulled in face first. I can charge either side, hence why I've had the charging point installed in the center so the cable can reach either side. And as you can see, you may recognize that this is the Zappi. It's the 7.2 kilowatt version, tethered. And what I've done here, what we've got is a dedicated supply from the main consumer unit in the house. And here we've got lights, power, and a 32 amp breaker for the EV charging point. Mounted it in the center, like I say, for ease of access to the Taycan. But what this also allows me to do, if I were to have a second EV, I would be able to either piggyback onto the back of this unit itself and have an additional charging point on the rear side over the wall here. That would then share the load between the two charging points, or I can quite simply obviously hang the cable over the top and charge a second car if I wanted to. So yeah, this works quite well in the center there. The charging experience at home for myself has been very seamless. It's all worked very well from day one. So what I generally tend to do is, first things first, I open up both apps, so the My Porsche app, and I'm with OVO Energy, and they have their own app which is linked to the OVO Energy Anytime tariff. The two apps then sort of talk to each other and talk to the car, and the OVO Anytime app basically controls the charging procedure. So just like you do with the My Porsche app, you go in there and you set up a profile, and that profile then takes over and controls the charging process. So the actual charging procedure and what I find works for me every time is as follows. Obviously we'll charge on the driver's side this occasion. So with both apps open, we plug in. Now the charging point and the car are now trying to communicate with each other. Now, the first time I did this, I did have a failure. And what I figured out was that if you press plus at this point, it forces the charging procedure immediately, makes the car and the charger and the apps all talk to each other. And as you can see, we've had a success. So obviously in the profile, I've currently got it set to charge to 100%. So that's all calculated itself out and figured out that overnight it will now be able to charge this vehicle the remaining 20% at the most cost-effective and cost-efficient time, and it will be charged up to 100% by 4:47 tomorrow morning. And that works seamlessly every time, since I realised that pressing the plus button helps initiate the whole process. There we go. For me, that couldn't be more straightforward or more simple. I find it very convenient. It really does help having obviously the charging point at home. I'm really enjoying the whole EV ownership experience and really can't see myself going back to a combustion engine. I've got the van, you may have noticed that in the background there. And to be quite frank, I find it, I mean, it is a van at the end of the day, and of course this is a Porsche, so there's a massive difference, but just find the whole combustion engine gearbox thing just really clunky in comparison, and really don't miss having to fuel up. So yeah, very happy with my EV ownership experience so far.